Money is not a thing to be feared, nor a force to be chased. Money is divine supply in action. It is the visible evidence of the invisible substance that fills the universe. When we begin to see money not as paper, not as coin, not as numbers on a screen, but as the circulation of God's good, then we come into harmony with it. For money is only an instrument, a channel, a symbol of the rich, unlimited substance of spirit that is ever present, ever flowing, ever abundant. Too often, man has cursed money, feared money, resented money, and in doing so has cut himself off from its free flow. He has said in his heart, "There is never enough," and the law has answered him with lack. He has believed that money comes by struggle, toil, and strain, and so it has come with heavy burdens. But the truth is eternal and unchanging. Money is a divine idea, and divine ideas are inexhaustible. They cannot be limited, they cannot be exhausted, they cannot be withheld. To align with this truth is to step into the flow of riches that has always existed. I declare, therefore, that money comes to me under grace and in perfect ways. I see it not as an enemy, nor as a master, but as a servant of the Most High. It obeys the law of circulation. It must move, it must flow, it must bless. To hoard it is to dam the river, to fear it is to shut the gate, but to bless it is to release it, and to release it is to multiply it. Every dollar is a messenger of good, and I send it forth with love, knowing it shall return to me multiplied, pressed down, and running over. I no longer see lack, for there is no lack in divine mind. Just as the air I breathe cannot be measured or exhausted, so too the supply of money cannot be measured by appearances. Appearances lie, but the law of spirit is truth. The bank account may seem empty, but divine substance is full. The wallet may look bare, but divine mind is overflowing. The appearances change like shadows, but the truth is eternal. Supply is here, supply is now, supply is mine. When I speak the word of prosperity, it goes forth and brings back its harvest. My words are seeds, and money is the fruit. I plant words of wealth, words of abundance, words of freedom, and the law of cause and effect brings forth their increase. I do not plant words of poverty. I do not plant words of debt, for I know the soil of spirit is obedient. It grows whatever is sown. Therefore, I guard my tongue, and I guard my thoughts. I let my heart be filled with images of plenty, and I let my lips speak only that which I desire to manifest. I affirm I live in a rich, unfailing universe. My pockets may be empty for a moment, but my consciousness is full, and soon the outer must reflect the inner. Money comes to me now, quickly and harmoniously, from every direction, from expected and unexpected channels, for I am in tune with the divine flow. As I stand in this truth, fear dissolves, fear of bills, fear of debt, fear of tomorrow. These are shadows of ignorance. They have no substance. The truth casts them out. I know that each demand upon me is already paid in full by infinite supply. For every obligation, there is provision. For every need, there is fulfillment. I rest in the assurance that God's riches are mine to draw upon, just as the child rests in the assurance of the parent's care. And as this realization deepens, I move effortlessly into a greater truth. Abundance is not something I earn. Abundance is my birthright. Just as the rose blooms without effort, just as the river flows without asking, so too am I entitled to the riches of life without strain or struggle. For I am a child of the infinite, and the kingdom is mine. I need not beg, I need not plead, I need only align. The world has taught man to labor under the curse of, "By the sweat of your brow you shall eat bread." But Christ redeemed that curse, and the truth has set us free. We no longer live under the law of toil, we live under the law of grace. Grace supplies without effort. Grace gives without measure. Grace pours out abundance because it is the nature of spirit to give. To claim less is to dishonor the giver. To accept lack is to reject inheritance. Therefore, I rise and claim my rightful place. I say boldly, I am rich, for I am a child of God. I am wealthy, for all that the Father hath is mine. I am prosperous, for I walk in the kingdom of supply. I cast aside the false humility that says, I must live small, I must scrape by. No, To live in lack is to deny my divine heritage. To live in wealth is to glorify the source from which it flows. Money, then, is not only divine supply, it is also proof of my divine inheritance. Each coin that comes to me bears witness. I am not forgotten, I am not forsaken, I am not poor. I am provided for in abundance. And as I walk deeper in this truth, I see that abundance is not limited to money alone. Riches take many forms: health, love, opportunity, peace of mind. Yet money is included, and I do not separate it from the greater whole. I accept it as naturally as I accept air, as freely as I accept sunshine. For abundance is not outside of me, it is within me, and what is within must manifest without. The seed of wealth has been planted in my soul since the beginning, and now I water it with faith, I nurture it with gratitude, I call it forth with affirmations, and I expect the harvest. Abundance is my divine right, my unshakable inheritance. It cannot be lost, stolen, or withheld, for it is established in spirit, not in man. The economy may shift, markets may fall, fortunes may rise and crumble, but the substance of spirit is eternal, and it is from that eternal storehouse that I draw now. I draw without fear of depleting it, for it cannot be depleted. I draw without guilt, for it is my rightful share. I draw with joy, for to receive is to honor the giver. And so, as I move from the truth of money as divine supply into the greater truth of abundance as my birthright, I stand in perfect confidence. The river of wealth flows, and I am in the current. The gates of heaven are open, and I walk through them. The feast is spread, and I take my seat. I live, I move, I breathe in the atmosphere of prosperity, and nothing can separate me from it. I accept abundance as the law of my being. I no longer question whether I deserve it, for I know that to be a child of God is to be heir to the kingdom. The universe was not created in fragments, it was not designed for scarcity, it was spoken into existence with infinite plenty. The stars do not count themselves and worry if there is enough space in the heavens. The oceans do not measure their waves and ask if they will run dry. The earth does not fear that the sun may withhold its light. All of nature declares increase. All of creation proclaims abundance, and I, being one with that creation, am included in the song of plenty. I am part of the whole, and the whole lacks nothing. Just as the branch draws freely from the vine, so do I draw freely from the source. Abundance is not an outer condition I must chase, it is an inner state I must recognize. Once I recognize it, it manifests without fail. The world has taught men to toil, to compare, to compete, to hoard, as though life were a table with too few seats. But the divine truth stands: there is always room for me, there is always supply for me, there is always increase for me. My good cannot be withheld, for my good is mine by right of consciousness. When I say, abundance is my birthright, I do not speak in vanity. I speak in truth. For to deny abundance is to deny the Father's love, to call him stingy, to believe him unjust. The Creator who clothes the lilies and feeds the sparrows has not forgotten his children. If the smallest flower is arrayed in beauty, how much more am I supplied with every good and perfect gift? If the bird does not gather into barns yet always sings with a full heart, how much more am I sustained without fear of lack? The law of abundance is written into the fabric of life, and I live by that law. Therefore, I reject every false belief of poverty. I reject every inherited lie that told me I must struggle, that I must suffer, that I must prove myself worthy. I do not need to prove worthiness, for worthiness is already established in me. I was born into this world with the mark of spirit upon me, and spirit has never denied its own. Abundance is not a prize I must earn. It is my inheritance, freely given, already mine. I open my hands and receive it. Every day, life presents me with opportunities to expand, to increase, to receive. The river of wealth flows toward me, and I allow it to flow through me. When I give, I do not diminish myself, for giving is only proof of my abundance. I cannot give what I do not have, therefore when I give, I demonstrate that I am already rich. And what I release multiplies and returns, for circulation is the law. My abundance does not decrease when I share it, it increases. Just as the seed sown in soil produces a harvest, so does every act of giving return multiplied. I rejoice in the prosperity of others, for their abundance proves that the law is working. I do not envy, for envy implies lack. I do not resent, for resentment blocks the flow. I bless every man's wealth, every woman's success, every child's provision, for what I bless is drawn nearer to me. I know there is no competition in spirit, no rivalry in divine mind. What is mine cannot be taken, what is theirs cannot diminish me, for we all draw from the same infinite supply. As I live in this truth, fear loosens its grip, for fear has been the great thief, whispering lies of limitation, telling man that tomorrow is uncertain, that there may not be enough, that he must clutch and cling and hoard. But abundance is not born of fear, it is born of faith. To claim my birthright, I must walk by faith and not by sight. Sight may show me an empty purse, but faith reveals the treasury of heaven. Sight may present unpaid bills, but faith declares, it is already provided. Sight may show lack, but faith knows abundance. It is here that the test arises, will I believe the outer or the inner? Will I listen to the world or to the Spirit? The world cries scarcity, Spirit proclaims plenty. The world fears tomorrow, Spirit assures me of eternal provision. And so I choose faith, for faith is the bridge between my birthright and its manifestation. Faith calls things which be not as though they were, and in that calling, brings them forth. Faith is the key that unlocks the storehouse, and when I turn it, every door swings open. The moment fear enters, the flow is hindered. Fear of loss, fear of lack, fear of poverty, all are shadows with no reality. They vanish when light is brought to them. Fear is only the absence of trust, the denial of God's unfailing supply. But when I remember that I am heir to infinite riches, fear has no voice. I walk with courage, I speak with confidence, I act with assurance. My steps are steady, for I know I tread the path of abundance. And so the truth grows brighter. Abundance is not a chance, it is not a gamble, it is a certainty. It is as certain as sunrise, as sure as gravity, as unchanging as love. The only question is whether I will align myself with it, whether I will believe it, whether I will live it. And as I do, as I affirm daily that abundance is mine, as I speak wealth into my experience, as I release fear and embrace faith, I see the evidence appear in my outer world. Money comes, opportunities arise, doors open, resources flow. The law is unfailing, for the law is divine. Therefore I rest in perfect peace. I do not hurry, I do not worry, I do not strive. I know the truth, and the truth makes me free. I am free from lack, free from want, free from limitation, free from fear. I live in a universe of abundance, and abundance lives in me. And as I walk forward, I carry this truth with me into every situation. Abundance is my birthright, and nothing can take it from me. And so, as the truth of abundance as my birthright settles deeper into my consciousness, I feel the call to take the next step, the step of faith. For birthright without faith remains dormant, but faith awakens it into manifestation. Faith is the fire that burns away fear, the lamp that lights the path, the hand that takes hold of the unseen and brings it into the seen. I turn now toward that faith, knowing that it will carry me beyond every shadow of fear and into the full light of prosperity. Faith is the golden bridge from the unseen to the seen, from the invisible supply to the manifested good. Without faith, man lives in the shadows of appearances, tossed by every wind of circumstance, bound by the chains of doubt and fear. But when faith takes hold, the chains are broken, the shadows dissolve, and the soul walks in freedom. Fear is the great deceiver, the voice of lack whispering that tomorrow is uncertain, that provision may fail, that the world is against you. Yet fear has no substance, it is only the absence of faith, as darkness is the absence of light. The moment faith enters, fear flees, just as the candle drives away the night. I choose faith, and in choosing faith I choose abundance. I choose to see the invisible as real, to trust the law of spirit more than the reports of sense. I look not to the appearance of poverty, but to the reality of infinite supply. I listen not to the cry of scarcity, but to the song of prosperity. My faith is my wealth, my faith is my treasure, my faith is the hand that gathers from the storehouse of God. With faith, I can walk into the wilderness and find rivers. With faith, I can sit in silence and hear the voice of provision. With faith, I call forth what the world calls impossible, and I watch it unfold before me. Fear says, hold back, there is not enough. Faith says, give freely, for the supply is endless. Fear says, what if I fail? Faith says, you cannot fail, for Spirit goes before you. Fear says, the bills are too many, the burden too great. Faith says, every bill is already paid in divine order, every burden lifted, every need met. Fear trembles at tomorrow, faith stands firm in the eternal now. For God is not a God of tomorrow but of today. Supply is not a future promise, but a present reality. Faith brings it forth, here and now. And so I live not by fear but by faith. I refuse to rehearse poverty in my mind. I refuse to repeat words of lack. I refuse to give energy to doubt. My inner vision is filled with images of abundance. My inner ear is tuned to the voice of provision. My inner heart is rooted in trust. I do not allow fear to dictate my actions, for fear produces poverty. The man who fears debt attracts debt. The woman who fears loss calls forth loss. Fear is a magnet, drawing to itself the very thing it dreads. Therefore, I cast out fear, I uproot it from my consciousness, and I plant faith in its place. Faith is also a magnet, but it draws only good. The man who believes in abundance attracts abundance. The woman who trusts divine supply finds her barns filled. Faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It is substance before substance appears. It is wealth before wealth is visible. It is provision before provision is touched. When I walk in faith, I am already rich, and the outer world must catch up to the inner truth. My words of faith are powerful. When I declare, I am provided for, the law of supply moves to fulfill it. When I affirm, I live in abundance, the universe rearranges itself to match my consciousness. When I speak, money comes to me in perfect ways. Channels open, opportunities arise, doors swing wide. Faith speaks only what it desires, never what it fears. Faith says, I have, not, I lack. Faith says, it is done, not, will it happen. Faith rests, knowing the word spoken is the word fulfilled. The more I practice faith, the weaker fear becomes. Fear is like a shadow on the wall, looming large until the light is turned on. Then it is nothing at all. Fear has no power but the power I give it. When I withdraw my attention, when I feed only faith, fear withers and dies. I starve it of belief, and I nourish faith with affirmations, with gratitude, with vision. Gratitude especially is the song of faith. To give thanks before the harvest is proof of trust. To thank God now for the money not yet seen is to declare that it is already mine in the unseen, and the unseen is always the cause of the seen. With faith, I no longer cling tightly to what I have, for I know more is coming. Fear makes men clutch, hoard, and withhold, believing the supply is limited. Faith makes men open, generous, and free, knowing the supply is unlimited. Faith sees money not as something to trap, but as something to release, for release brings return. The ocean never fears it will run dry, for the tides always return. In the same way I give without fear, I release without hesitation, I bless and let go, for faith knows that circulation is the law. And this is where faith carries me, into the great truth of giving and receiving. For faith teaches that every act of giving is an act of receiving in disguise. What I release in faith cannot be lost, it must return multiplied. To give is to prove I believe in the law of abundance. To give is to stand in faith that I cannot be depleted. Fear says, if you give, you will have less. Faith says, if you give, you open the channel for more. And faith is always right, for the law is unfailing. So I let faith be my guide, my companion, my counselor. I walk with faith in every step, I speak with faith in every word, I act with faith in every choice. Fear no longer rules me, for I live in the light of truth. I am a child of God, heir to infinite wealth, surrounded by infinite supply, and guided by infinite wisdom. My faith draws to me all that I need, all that I desire, all that belongs to me by divine right. And as faith grows, it naturally expresses itself in generosity. For I know that giving and receiving are one. Faith always leads me to give, for faith knows the truth that giving and receiving are not two separate acts, but one continuous motion. As the inhale and the exhale are one breath, so giving and receiving are one law. The fearful mind clutches and withholds, believing that to give is to lose. But the enlightened soul knows that to give is to receive, that circulation is the law of life, that what goes out must return, multiplied and increased. Every gift I release blesses me. Every offering I make to others is an offering to myself, for there is no separation in spirit. I bless my money as it goes forth, I call it a seed, and I rejoice in the harvest it must bring. A farmer does not mourn the seed he plants in the ground, for he knows it will return to him 1,000-fold. So I do not mourn the money I spend, nor the gifts I give, nor the kindness I extend, for all of it is seed, and the harvest is certain. I declare, every dollar I release returns to me multiplied, under grace, in perfect ways. And so it is. My giving is never in vain, for the universe is unfailing in its return. The world teaches men to hoard, to clutch, to keep tightly what little they believe they have. But this stops the flow, it dams the river, it closes the channel. I keep my channels open, and I prove it by giving. I give with joy, I give with love, I give with faith, and as I give I expand. My capacity to receive increases with every gift I release. When I give to another, I do not lose, I gain. For the law is circular, not linear. I do not push money away never to return. I send it forth in a circle that always comes back to me. Even the act of tithing, when done with love and faith, is not a loss but a declaration of trust in God as the source. It is saying, I know my supply is infinite, therefore I give without fear. And the universe always answers such trust with abundance. I rejoice in opportunities to give. I bless every account I pay, every service I support, every person I help, for each is a chance to prove the law. Bills are not burdens, they are acknowledgments of circulation. They are signs that I have received, and now I give back. I bless every bill and declare it paid in full, easily and joyfully, and as I bless it, I open the way for more supply to flow in. I do not measure giving only in money. I give love, I give encouragement, I give gratitude, I give time, I give smiles, I give blessings. And every gift, whether material or invisible, returns multiplied. To speak a kind word is to plant a seed of kindness that returns as favor. To offer gratitude is to open the floodgates of blessing. To forgive is to release chains and invite freedom into my own life. I give freely in every form, knowing that every act of giving is an invitation to receive. There is no shortage in God's universe, and so I never fear that my giving will leave me empty. The ocean does not dry up when it sends forth waves. The tree does not grow bare when it releases fruit. The sun does not diminish when it gives light. In giving, they fulfill their purpose, and so do I. Giving is the proof that I trust the law of abundance, and trust always brings its reward. I release all thought of sacrifice. There is no sacrifice in true giving, for what I release is already replaced. I cannot outgive God, I cannot deplete infinite supply, I cannot empty the storehouse of spirit. The more I give, the more flows through me, for I am a channel, and a channel that blocks the flow soon grows stagnant, but a channel that stays open becomes a river of blessing. I am such a channel, ever open, ever flowing, ever giving, ever receiving. And as I live in this truth, I see that giving and receiving are truly the same. When I receive, I allow another to give. When I give, I allow another to receive. Both are acts of circulation, both are holy, both are blessed. I neither resist giving nor resist receiving, for resistance in either direction closes the flow. I give with humility, and I receive with gratitude. I know myself worthy of both. There was a time when I thought giving depleted me, and there was a time when I thought receiving made me indebted. But now I know both are blessings, both are divine, both are expressions of the law of supply. To withhold either is to deny abundance. I allow both freely, easily, joyfully. When I give in love. When I receive in love, and love multiplies both. Every word I speak, every thought I think, every intention I hold is also a form of giving. I give out words into the universe, and they return as experiences. If I give out words of fear, they return as lack. If I give out words of faith, they return as abundance. Giving begins with the tongue, with the mind, with the heart. Therefore I watch my words carefully, for they are the first gifts I send forth into the law. And so, my giving naturally leads me to the next great truth, that to speak is to give, and to give is to create. My words are the wealth I release into the unseen, and what I give in speech I must receive in manifestation. When I declare prosperity, I am giving prosperity to the universe, and the universe must return it to me. When I affirm wealth, I am planting wealth in the soil of spirit, and spirit must send back the harvest. Giving and receiving are one, and the power of that law is most clearly seen in the spoken word. Every word I speak is a seed, and the harvest of my life is the proof of what I have spoken. The law is exact, unfailing, impartial. By my words I am justified, and by my words I am condemned. The universe listens to every utterance, every declaration, every affirmation, and returns it multiplied. Words are not idle, they are living forces, clothed with power, sent forth to accomplish the thing they describe. To speak is to give, and to give is to set in motion the law of return. If I speak words of lack, I am giving lack to the universe, and lack must come back to me. If I speak words of fear, I am sowing fear into the soil of spirit, and fear must bear its fruit in my affairs. But when I speak words of abundance, I release abundance into motion, and it comes back multiplied. When I affirm wealth, I set in motion the forces that create wealth. When I declare prosperity, prosperity begins to take form. My words are my wealth, and the tongue is the pen that writes my destiny. Therefore, I guard my tongue with vigilance. I do not allow careless words of poverty to escape me. I do not repeat phrases of want, nor rehearse the language of limitation, for every word is a prayer, every declaration a command, every affirmation a creation. My lips must speak only that which I wish to see. I must talk wealth if I desire wealth. I must declare abundance if I desire abundance. I must speak prosperity if I desire prosperity. I say with conviction, I am rich in consciousness, therefore I am rich in manifestation. I affirm daily, money flows to me easily, freely, and abundantly. I declare, my supply is endless, inexhaustible, and immediate. These words are not wishful thinking, they are creative forces, aligning me with the invisible substance that fills the universe. I speak them in faith, not doubt, for doubt cancels the word, but faith gives it life. Every great manifestation begins with a spoken word. God Himself spoke the universe into being. He said, "Let there be light," and there was light. In the same way I speak my world into being. I say, "Let there be abundance," and abundance comes. I say, "Let there be wealth," and wealth appears. My word is the command and spirit is the executor. The word spoken in faith cannot return void. It must accomplish that which it is sent forth to do. When I align my words with truth, I set the law in motion. I do not speak of debt, for debt is only an appearance. I do not speak of lack, for lack is only a shadow. I speak of abundance, for abundance is eternal. I speak of riches, for riches are real in spirit. The outer must conform to the inner, and the inner is shaped by the word. I also speak blessings over everything that touches me. I bless my money, and it multiplies. I bless my work, and it prospers. I bless my opportunities, and they expand. I bless others in their prosperity, and their prosperity returns to me. My words are instruments of blessing, and the more blessings I give, the more blessings I receive. I do not curse, I do not complain, I do not condemn, for such words sow thorns into my own path. I bless, I affirm, I speak life, and the harvest is sweet. I speak with boldness, not timidity. For timid words create timid results, but bold words create bold manifestations. I declare my good as though it were already done, for in spirit it is done. I do not beg, I do not plead, I do not ask with doubt. I speak with authority, knowing that my word is law. When I say, I am rich, heaven and earth begin to rearrange themselves to prove it true. When I say, I prosper in all that I do, the law of prosperity rushes to fulfill it, and so I train my tongue to be an instrument of power. Every morning I speak my affirmations, every night I declare my good, throughout the day I utter words of increase. And slowly, surely, steadily, my outer life shifts, for the word has gone forth and it cannot return void. The more I practice this, the more I see that opportunities flow to me in response to my words. My spoken affirmations open doors I could not have imagined. I say, new channels of wealth open to me now, and soon a new channel appears. I declare, opportunities present themselves in perfect timing, and soon the opportunity arrives. My word sends out a signal to the universe, and the universe responds with precision. What the world calls coincidence is only the outworking of spoken faith. What the world calls chance is only the law of the word made manifest. I do not live by chance. I live by declaration. My word shapes my path, and my path shapes my destiny. I no longer wander aimlessly, for I am guided by the words I speak in faith. And so I grow more careful, more deliberate, more faithful in what I release into the universe. I know that idle chatter is not idle at all, but seed. I will not sow weeds in my garden. I will not plant thorns in my field. I will sow only words of wealth, only affirmations of abundance, only declarations of prosperity. And as I sow, so shall I reap. The harvest of my words is inevitable, for the law is sure. Every word of truth I speak is a coin in the treasury of heaven, and heaven pays interest without fail. Every affirmation I release is an order placed with the universe, and the universe delivers in perfect time. I do not chase wealth, I call it. I do not fear lack, I forbid it. I do not plead for abundance, I command it. And the command spoken in faith is always fulfilled. Therefore, I live in a continual state of creative speech. I know my tongue is a scepter, and my words are decrees. I declare riches, and riches obey. I declare opportunities, and opportunities appear. I declare prosperity, and prosperity manifests. The more I speak wealth, the more freely opportunities flow to me, as rivers flowing downhill, as waves returning to shore, as light filling every corner of darkness. My words are the cause, and opportunities are the effect. The law is perfect, the law is unfailing, the law is mine. Opportunities are the natural outworking of spoken faith. They are not accidents, not random events, not strokes of chance. They are the ordered responses of the universe to the words I have spoken and the thoughts I have held. When I say, new doors of good open to me now, the very fabric of circumstances rearranges itself to prove me right. The people I need to meet appear. The resources I require line themselves up. The perfect time arrives, and the way is made plain. Spirit has endless ways of bringing my good to me. There are no shortages in God's supply, no delays in divine timing, no limits on how many channels can be used. The only barrier is the door of doubt within me, and when I open that door by faith, the flow begins. Opportunities flow not by strain, not by striving, not by human forcing, but by release, by declaration, by alignment with the law of abundance. When I release my word, opportunities begin to move toward me like ships, answering the call of a lighthouse. I do not need to chase them. They are drawn by the power of the spoken decree. The magnet of faith pulls them closer, and they arrive in perfect order. That is why I must never speak defeat, for defeat would draw to me closed doors and missed chances. Instead, I speak only increase, only expansion, only open doors. I say, everything I need is being prepared for me now. The right people, the right places, the right opportunities are flowing to me with ease. The law has no struggle in it. The law of gravity does not strain to pull, it simply acts. So does the law of supply. When I align with it, opportunities flow as naturally as water flows downhill. When I resist it by fear, I dam the river. But the moment I release the word of truth, the dam breaks and the current rushes freely again. I live in the river of opportunity, not in the desert of limitation. I affirm daily that divine order goes before me and prepares the way. I declare that every seeming obstacle is only an opportunity in disguise. I proclaim that nothing is against me, for all is working together for my good. With such declarations, the universe must rearrange itself to fulfill my words. The closed door swings wide. The locked gate opens at my approach. The path that was hidden reveals itself beneath my feet. Opportunities are not always loud, nor do they always arrive with trumpets. Sometimes they come in quiet whispers, in small beginnings, in unexpected encounters. I train myself to recognize them, for they may not look like what I imagined. The law brings the form that best serves me, not always the form my limited mind first demanded. Therefore I remain open, alert, receptive. I say, whatever channel my good chooses, I receive it now with joy. And because I am open, nothing passes me by. When I speak words of gratitude, opportunities multiply. Gratitude is a magnet that pulls more good into my life. When I give thanks in advance for the doors opening before me, the doors must appear. I walk in a state of expectancy, knowing that at any moment, the next great opportunity can present itself. I do not live in worry, for worry shuts doors. I live in expectancy, for expectancy unlocks them. Every opportunity carries with it increase, for the law never subtracts, it only multiplies. I do not fear loss when one door closes, for I know it closes only because a larger one has swung open. I bless the doors that shut, for they are guiding me to the doors that lead to my highest good. I say, I am always in the right place, at the right time, meeting the right people, to fulfill my divine destiny. That word sets the law in motion, and the universe bends to obey. Sometimes opportunities come disguised as challenges. Yet I know the truth: the challenge is only the wrapping paper, and inside it is the gift. When I face a difficulty, I affirm, this is not against me, it is for me. This is not a barrier, but a stepping stone. This is not an ending, but a beginning. And as I speak those words, the outer condition transforms, and what seemed like a wall becomes a doorway. The very challenge becomes the key that unlocks my next level of wealth and success. The flow of opportunity is not limited to one area of life. As I speak abundance, doors open in finances, in relationships, in health, in creativity, in every field of expression. I do not restrict the law by focusing only on one channel. I say, my good comes from every direction, through many channels, in expected and unexpected ways. And so it is. Opportunities rush to me from sources I could never have foreseen. A chance meeting, a sudden idea, a delayed event that now comes at perfect timing, all are the law in action. Opportunities do not belong only to others, they belong to me. I refuse envy, for envy is the denial of my own good. I bless the opportunities others receive. Knowing their increase proves the law is at work, and what is true for one is true for all. Their blessing is my blessing, their prosperity my prosperity. In blessing them, I multiply my own, and soon my own doors open, wide and plentiful. When I speak, everything I desire is seeking me. I align with truth. My desires are not random. They are signals of what is already prepared for me. The desire is the seed, and the opportunity is the harvest. I do not chase, I allow. I do not grasp, I receive. I do not fear missing my chance, for what belongs to me can never pass me by. It comes in perfect time, perfect order, perfect ease. The universe is abundant, overflowing, limitless. There is no shortage of opportunities, no scarcity of doors. What I require will appear, not once, but again and again. Life is a continual stream of open doors, and I walk through them with courage. I do not hesitate, for hesitation causes delay. I step boldly, for bold steps bring bold rewards. I speak boldly, and my boldness is answered by a flood of chances, openings, pathways, and connections. And so, opportunities flow freely to me. They arrive without struggle, without strain, without limit. They come because I have spoken them into existence. They come because the law is unfailing. They come because I expect them, bless them, and claim them. I live in a world of ever-opening doors, and each door leads to greater wealth, greater freedom, greater joy. The river of opportunity never runs dry, for it springs from the infinite source, and that source is endless. There is within me a voice that never fails. It is the voice of divine guidance, the inner whisper of spirit, the gentle yet certain direction that leads me always to my highest good. Wealth is not found by chance, nor by mere striving, but by following the inner lead that says, "This is the way, walk ye in it." That guidance is the compass of my soul, and when I listen, I cannot be led astray. The outer world may appear confused, crowded with noise, filled with opinions, but the still small voice within is steady, calm, and sure. It knows the shortest path to my wealth, the quickest route to my success, the easiest channel for my increase. I need not struggle to figure everything out with my limited reasoning. I need only quiet myself, listen, and obey. The guidance is always present, always available, always correct. When I follow it, doors swing wide before me. When I doubt it, I stumble. But even then, the voice redirects me, gently bringing me back to the path of abundance. I declare daily, I am divinely guided in all my ways. With that decree, my inner wisdom rises to the surface, shining like a lamp to light my steps. I say, infinite intelligence reveals to me the next right move, and I take it in faith. And at once, the way becomes clear, the fog lifts, the confusion vanishes, and the right decision stands out like a beacon. Guidance is never frantic. It is never filled with fear. It speaks in peace, in assurance, in certainty. The voice of fear is loud and anxious, but the voice of spirit is quiet and sure. I train myself to know the difference, and I choose only the voice of peace. For where there is peace, there is God, and where there is God, there is prosperity. My wealth is not born of panic, but of calm alignment with the inner wisdom that knows all. Many seek wealth through force, through rushing, through schemes of the mind. But lasting wealth comes through guidance. When I listen, I am led to the right people, the right places, the right timing. I find myself at the perfect intersection of opportunity and preparation. I am led to avoid loss, to bypass mistakes, to sidestep pitfalls. What might take others years of toil I accomplish with ease, for the inner guide takes me by the hand and shows me the hidden shortcuts. There is nothing too small for guidance, and nothing too great. Spirit can direct me in choosing a word, in making a purchase, in meeting a stranger, and in launching a great enterprise. All is one to infinite intelligence, and when I yield to it in the small things, I find it clear in the great things. I no longer separate my life into parts, for the same guidance that leads me in prayer leads me in business, and the same wisdom that directs my heart directs my bank account. I affirm now that I hear clearly and obey promptly. I do not delay when inner wisdom nudges me. I do not argue with my own good. I do not allow fear to silence the voice of truth. I move when I am told to move, and I rest when I am told to rest. I do not force open doors, for the guided path requires no force. The right door swings wide, the wrong one remains shut, and I am grateful for both. For every closed door is protection, and every open door is direction. My inner guidance is connected to infinite supply. It knows where the treasures are hidden, where the opportunities are buried, where the wealth is waiting. Like a shepherd, it leads me beside green pastures and still waters. I shall not want, for I am always guided to enough, more than enough overflowing, abundant supply. The voice says, "Go here," and I find prosperity waiting. The voice says, "Speak this," and I find favor flowing. The voice says, "Release that," and I am freed for greater increase. Wealth is not only a matter of money, it is the fullness of life, and inner guidance leads me not only to money, but to health, to joy, to love, to peace, to every form of prosperity. For what good is riches without harmony, or gold without rest? True wealth includes all of these, and my inner wisdom directs me to balance, to wholeness, to plenty in every area. I am never led to gain in one hand and loss in another, but to fullness in all. Sometimes the guidance comes as an idea, a sudden inspiration, a flash of knowing. Sometimes it comes as a strong feeling, a sense of yes or no. Sometimes it speaks through another's words, a chance remark, a phrase that strikes me with truth. The channels vary, but the source is one. I trust the voice in whatever way it arrives, and I follow it with confidence. I do not need to see the whole path at once. Guidance reveals step by step. I take the step before me, and the next appears. Like walking in the dark with a lantern, I see only enough to move forward, but as I move, the light moves with me. Soon the whole road unfolds. This keeps me in faith, for if I saw everything at once, I might falter. Spirit knows how much to show me, and it is always enough. I bless my intuition, for it is the divine speaking. I honor my inner promptings, for they are the map of my destiny. I trust the process, even when I cannot explain it, for I know the unseen is wiser than the seen. Again and again I have proven that when I follow guidance, I prosper, and when I resist, I delay. Therefore, I yield fully now. I listen with an open heart. I obey without fear, and the result is constant increase. I am never without direction. I am never lost. I am never confused. The Spirit within me knows all, sees all, governs all. I live in a guided life, and that life is a wealthy life. My wealth flows not from human plans alone, but from divine guidance working through those plans. I am a co-creator with God, and He directs my steps into abundance. And so I walk with assurance, for I am divinely guided. I rest with confidence, for my wealth is secure in Spirit's leading. I live in expectancy, for I know the next instruction will come, and I will follow it gladly. The voice within is my unfailing guide, my secret counselor, my eternal compass. It leads me now, and it leads me always, straight into the riches of life prepared for me since the beginning of time. Every idea must be clothed in action, for faith without works is dead. The universe rewards right action, the action that springs not from fear or hurry, but from faith and obedience. It is not enough to dream of wealth, to speak of wealth, to pray for wealth. I must act as if wealth is mine, move as if abundance is here, live as though prosperity surrounds me. Right action is the bridge between thought and manifestation, and when I take it, my supply increases without limit. I declare daily, I am divinely led to right action, and every step I take prospers me. This affirmation releases hesitation, doubt, and delay. It propels me forward with certainty. I do not need to know the outcome of every action. I need only know that Spirit is guiding me, and therefore every step is fruitful. Even the smallest action, taken in faith, sets in motion currents of supply. A phone call, a letter, a kind word, a bold request, when done in alignment, opens wide the gates of increase. Right action is never struggle. It is not the frantic rushing of the fearful mind. It is the calm, deliberate movement of one who knows they are backed by divine law. I do not run about trying everything, exhausting myself in scattered effort. I take the one inspired action, and that single step accomplishes more than 1,000 fruitless labors. Spirit directs me to the simple, clear, and effective move, and I obey without question. Many hoard ideas waiting endlessly, afraid to act. They pray but do not move, they visualize but do not step forward. Yet prosperity comes when thought, word, and deed are united. To think abundance but act in fear is to cancel the harvest. To speak increase but delay the step is to withhold the blessing. But when I think wealth, speak wealth, and act wealth, the whole universe rushes to support me. There is a difference between action and right action. Mere action may drain, but right action multiplies. I do not act to prove myself, nor to please others, nor to force results. I act in faith, in harmony, in obedience to the inner nudge. And because the action is right, it carries with it the breath of increase. One inspired step opens 10 doors. One obedient act creates tenfold return. I move without fear of mistakes. If I act wrongly, divine law corrects me, redirects me, protects me. But when I delay in doubt, nothing moves. Better to act in faith and be redirected than to freeze in fear and remain empty-handed. Spirit blesses movement, for life is motion, and the prosperous life is always advancing. Right action brings me into contact with the right people. A single meeting, a single handshake, a single conversation can change the entire course of my wealth. And these are never accidents, they are divine appointments, prepared long before I arrive. By acting at the right time, in the right spirit, I step into prepared blessings. I cannot miss them, for they are mine by law. I no longer wait for everything to be perfect before I act. Perfection comes as I move. The path clears as I walk. The resources appear as I step forward. Waiting endlessly is the enemy of increase. Faith acts now, not later. Faith says, though I see not the whole staircase, I step on the first. And the moment I act, unseen hands go to work, aligning all things for my good. Right action is always in harmony with truth. It never seeks to harm, deceive, or take what belongs to another. What I do for gain at the expense of another is not right action, and it cannot prosper. But what I do in love, in service, in truth, multiplies without end. My wealth is built on honesty, generosity, and faith, and therefore it cannot be shaken. I keep my actions uncluttered. I release busywork, confusion, and the false sense of urgency. I act on essentials. I do the one thing Spirit directs, and it produces increase. I resist the temptation to scatter myself in 10 directions, for one divinely guided step is worth more than years of scattered striving. Sometimes right action is bold and public, sometimes quiet and hidden. Sometimes it is the courage to speak, sometimes the wisdom to remain silent. Sometimes it is to invest, sometimes to save. Sometimes it is to step forward, sometimes to step back. What matters is obedience to the inner command, not the appearance of the action. I may not understand it in the moment, but later I see that every right action builds upon the last, weaving a golden chain of increase. I bless every act I take. I say, this action prospers me, multiplies me, blesses me. Even when the act seems small, I know its ripple extends far beyond what I see. The phone call leads to an opportunity. The letter leads to favor. The smile leads to friendship. The investment leads to increase. Nothing is wasted when done in faith. I am no longer afraid to act, for my actions are backed by infinite supply. I do not ask, what if I fail? I declare, what if I prosper beyond measure? I do not say, what if I lose? I affirm, what if I gain 100-fold? My expectation colors my actions, and therefore I expect only success. As I act rightly, wealth flows easily. I do not chase it, it follows me. I do not beg for it, it seeks me. I do not force it, it comes by law. My life becomes a rhythm of guidance and action, listening and obeying, receiving and giving. This rhythm keeps me in the current of abundance, where increase is natural and effortless. I am divinely equipped for every act. I never lack the strength, the wisdom, the resources to do what Spirit asks. When the command comes, the provision is already prepared. The idea carries the supply with it. I act and the money appears. I move and the helpers arrive. I speak and the opportunity opens. All is provided in advance. Therefore, I do not fear right action, for it is always supported. I do not delay right action, for delay is loss. I do not question right action, for obedience brings blessing. I act swiftly, surely, joyfully, and my life expands in wealth, in opportunity, in joy. My increase is inevitable, for my actions are aligned with divine law. I cannot fail, for I do not move alone. I move with God, and God multiplies every seed I plant. Each action is a seed, and the harvest is certain. As I plant daily, my barns overflow. As I act faithfully, my riches increase. And so I live in the flow of right action. I rise each day and say, Spirit, what is mine to do today? And the answer comes. I do it gladly, without fear, without doubt, and I am prospered beyond imagination. Right action is my wealth. Right action is my success. Right action is my increase here and now, forevermore. Gratitude is the great multiplier. It is the key that unlocks the invisible storehouses of heaven and causes blessings to pour into visible form. When I give thanks, I draw to myself that which I praise. When I rejoice in the little, it grows into much. When I look with love upon what is already in my hands, I open the door for more to come in. The ungrateful heart shuts itself away from supply, but the grateful heart stands wide open under heaven's showers of abundance. Gratitude is not a mere polite word, it is a creative force. It is a magnet, a call, a song that heaven answers with increase. When I say, thank you, I am not only acknowledging what I have, but I am commanding more of the same to appear. Gratitude is faith in action, for it declares, I see the good now. Therefore I know greater good is on the way. The one who grumbles at small beginnings closes the gate. The one who rejoices in even the smallest blessing makes himself ready for overflow. Every coin in my pocket is blessed when I give thanks for it. Every piece of work in my hands grows richer when I bless it with gratitude. Every meal, every shelter, every kindness, every opportunity expands under the light of my thanksgiving. I walk through life blessing what is and, by blessing, multiplying it. There is no limit to the power of gratitude. If I give thanks for health, my health improves. If I give thanks for love, love deepens and surrounds me. If I give thanks for wealth, wealth hastens its approach. Gratitude is the language of multiplication. It is the alchemy that turns little into much and lack into plenty. It does not wait for great demonstrations before it speaks. It begins where it is and blesses what it sees, and in blessing transforms it. I do not wait to feel rich before I give thanks. I give thanks now, and that thanksgiving draws the richness. Gratitude precedes the harvest, for only the grateful sower receives the increase. The farmer does not wait for the stalks to rise before he rejoices, he celebrates the seed, knowing the harvest is sure. So I celebrate now, giving thanks for supply not yet seen, and the unseen hastens to become seen. Gratitude pulls the future into the present. When I awaken, my first thought is thanksgiving. I give thanks for life, for breath, for the new day, for the opportunities that await me. I step into the day already rich, for gratitude has crowned me before the outer riches even appear, and as I move through my hours, I give thanks continually. For each face I meet, for each chance to serve, for each lesson, for each open door. Even what seems difficult I bless, for I know hidden within it is good, and gratitude is the key that reveals it. To complain is to curse, to give thanks is to bless. I choose blessing, for blessing multiplies. Complaint shrinks the channels, gratitude widens them. Complaint says, this is not enough. And spirit answers, then so it is, not enough. Gratitude says, this is abundant, and spirit answers, then so it is, abundant. The law is exact, it cannot fail. What I acknowledge expands, what I deny withers. Therefore, I acknowledge only good, and I give thanks continually. Gratitude makes me light, it makes me free, it makes me magnetic. It turns every circumstance into treasure, and every step into progress. Even delays and seeming denials dissolve before a grateful heart, for gratitude sees beyond appearances and calls forth the truth. A grateful heart cannot be defeated, for it is already aligned with the victory of spirit. And so, as I live in gratitude, wealth flows easily. For wealth loves to dwell where it is welcomed, and gratitude is the song that welcomes it. Money hastens to those who bless it, lingers with those who appreciate it, and multiplies with those who respect it. When I am grateful for every dollar, every coin, every note, I create a home for money to stay and grow. The ungrateful spend carelessly and chase after more, never satisfied. But the grateful live richly even with little, and that little expands until it becomes great. Gratitude keeps me in right relationship with money, for I see it not as master but as servant, not as power but as tool. When I am grateful, I remember that money is not the source but the channel, not the creator but the carrier. My gratitude goes first to God, the infinite supply, and then to money, the obedient messenger. Gratitude lifts money out of fear and into blessing. It keeps me free, so that I never worship money, never chase it, never bow to it. Instead, I bless it, I thank it, I direct it, and it serves me well. For gratitude establishes dominion. It says, I already possess abundance, for I see good everywhere. And when I live in this state, money cannot rule me. It becomes my servant, eager and willing to obey the commands of a grateful heart. Gratitude makes me master over my possessions, not servant to them. It makes me rich in spirit first, and then rich in substance. And in this way, gratitude leads naturally into the truth that money is my servant, not my master. To live in divine alignment is to know that everything is working for me and through me in perfect order. Money manifestation is not a struggle, nor a chase, nor a desperate grasping. It is the natural outflow of living in harmony with God's law, the law of supply, the law of gratitude, the law of giving and receiving, the law of faith. When I am aligned, I do not push against the current, I flow with it. I do not worry where the next opportunity will come from, for I know it already exists in the unseen, waiting for me to step into the place prepared. Alignment is peace. It is the still assurance that says, all is well, all is provided, all is mine now. In this alignment, I do not measure time by fear, nor do I measure wealth by numbers. I measure by consciousness, for as within so without. When my consciousness is rich, the world must mirror richness. When my heart is open, money flows freely. When my words are aligned with truth, the world arranges itself to bring forth manifestation. Divine alignment is not effort, it is surrender. It is letting go of the false belief that I am separate from my supply. It is releasing the fear that money is scarce or difficult. It is dropping the heavy burden of human reasoning and stepping into the light of divine knowing. In alignment, I do not force, I allow. I do not beg, I declare. I do not plead, I affirm. My word spoken in faith is law, and law must manifest. Every affirmation of wealth I speak is a key that unlocks a door in the unseen. When I say, I am supplied, I am aligning my mind with the truth of eternal supply. When I say, money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways, I am aligning my expectations with the generosity of spirit. When I say, I give thanks for every channel of abundance, I am aligning my heart with gratitude that multiplies. The affirmation is not wishful thinking, it is the command of divine law spoken through me. In divine alignment, there is no contradiction between the spiritual and the material. Money is not unspiritual, for it is simply energy, a tool, a servant. To live richly is not to abandon spirit, but to demonstrate spirit's generosity. God is wealth, God is abundance, God is overflow. Poverty is no virtue, lack is no holiness. Divine alignment is prosperity, for prosperity is the natural language of a soul in harmony with its source. I remind myself daily, I am a child of the infinite, and inheritance is mine by divine right. I do not have to beg for what belongs to me. I do not have to strive endlessly for what is already prepared. I align my thoughts with truth, my feelings with gratitude, my words with affirmation, my actions with faith, and manifestation becomes inevitable. The money, the opportunities, the ideas, the people, all flow toward me in perfect timing, perfect ways. To be aligned is to be at ease. For money does not come through worry, it comes through certainty. It does not respond to fear, it responds to faith. It does not move by doubt, it moves by confidence. When I rest in divine alignment, money manifests as naturally as breath, as sunlight, as the rising of the morning, and in this state, I live richly now. Not someday, not when the money comes, but now. I feel wealthy in this moment. I walk as though I am already provided for. I speak as though my barns are already full. I rejoice as though the harvest has already been gathered. And as I live in this vibration, the outer must follow. The invisible law cannot be mocked. As within, so without. As I believe, so it is. Alignment also demands integrity. I cannot affirm abundance and act in fear. I cannot speak wealth and sow doubt. I cannot declare prosperity and yet cling to poverty thinking. Divine alignment asks that I be consistent, my word, my thought, my feeling, my action all moving together in one rhythm. When I align all parts of myself with truth, manifestation rushes in with ease. And now, as I stand in this truth, I declare, money manifestation is no longer something I seek, it is who I am. I am manifestation in motion. I am the vessel through which wealth flows. I am the channel of divine supply. My every thought, every word, every step is aligned with God's infinite abundance, and therefore I cannot lack, I cannot fail, I cannot be denied. For what is mine by divine right must find me, must locate me, must manifest for me. Money is not my master, it is my servant. It obeys my gratitude, it responds to my faith, it multiplies by my blessing. It flows where I direct it, it increases where I sow it, it returns where I give it. I live in divine alignment, and therefore I live in constant demonstration of supply. And so I close with this final truth: I am rich now. Rich in spirit, rich in consciousness, rich in supply. The whole universe conspires for my prosperity. Doors open before me, channels widen for me, opportunities race toward me. My word is law, my faith is substance, my gratitude is multiplication. I live in divine alignment, and therefore wealth is my natural state. I declare it now: I am a magnet for money, I am a channel for abundance, I am a steward of infinite riches. Nothing can oppose me, nothing can block me, nothing can delay me. For I walk in divine timing, I live in divine flow, I rest in divine supply. From this moment on, I manifest money with ease, with joy, with certainty. I speak, I align, I receive. And so it is.